Okay, you've all spent years on the beach saving people. John, you spent a lot of time on the beach advising people, saving people, looking at the ocean. If a lot of Australians are relatively strong swimmers, you say that that message of swimming parallel to the beach is the wrong one because most of us don't have the oomph to keep it up long enough. But what about this notion of education? Is the key thing that we should be learning is what does a rip look like? Because I've been around a long time and looked at a lot of beaches. I don't think I could recognise one. John, is that where we should really be focusing?
Yeah, and Rob's right. Rob's has an award-winning DVD which is doing the rounds, which is just fantastic. And it talks about rips in a very educated sort of way. Look, the thing is, for listeners this morning, they still haven't waded through what Peter was saying. You know, on one hand, Peter was saying all the things I was saying. Stay calm, go with the flow, all those kinds of things. But that's not the campaign. The campaign is swim parallel. They have got it wrong. They need to withdraw it. They need to listen to the people who are saying very clearly this is a mistake. It's not a campaign for strong swimmers. If it was a campaign for strong swimmers, you would have isolated those people and talked to them. It's a mass media campaign. You've got 8-year-olds to 80-year-olds thinking that they can escape from a rip if they swim parallel. It is clearly the wrong message. And in all this, we've lost the key major message, and that is to go to supervised areas between the flags.
Peter, will you switch messages? Will you pull this campaign?
Well, the campaign runs to the end of March, and at this stage, the campaign is receiving some great feedback. We've had some great examples.
Great feedback because it might be working, but is it the right message? That's the point. I mean, John is right when he points out that your message, as you gave us then, is several points.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why the broader campaign concentrates on those several points. But the key headline message that we want people to start talking about is how to escape a rip in those early stages of panic within the water.
So you're
and
planning to stick to the message, swim parallel to the beach?
Yeah, definitely. It's been around for a long time. The research supports that. But of course, like with all things, we'll review that in the next few weeks. It's a 3-year campaign, so we're at the very early stages of putting out some fantastic rip education over the years. We're not only listening to beach experts, we're looking at listening to marketing experts as well, trying to get what's the best way we can get Australians to learn about rip currents.
Do you concede, though, the points that Rob and John have made, that most swimmers in a rip can't gauge how strong the rip is, whether they would have the capacity to swim out of it, swim parallel to the beach?
Yeah, and I don't think swim parallel has anything really to do with whether they can swim out. If they're swimming against it, that's the wrong strategy, and that's what they're doing at the moment, and it's actually killing people around the beaches. So doing nothing at all is not an option for us at the moment. As we've talked about, rips are really complex. It's hard to get good education messages out there about how to spot a rip. If someone comes up with the answer tomorrow that's in an easy way that we can educate all Australians in a very simple message about how to spot a rip, we'd welcome it with open arms. We work with Rob nearly every week, Professor Andy Short from the University of New South Wales. So we've got some great experts around us telling us what the answers are. We're listening to those answers constantly, but we're also looking at how do we educate common Australians who don't go to the beach that often, some very basic strategies. And these people aren't drowning at patrolled beaches where they can put up their hand and all of a sudden a helicopter's hovering above them, or there's a lifeguard or a lifesaver pulling them out of the water. They're swimming at remote beaches, out of the flags.
Because that's what we do, though.
Exactly right. And we want to change the behaviour from swimming against the rip, which is the one that's killing people around our beaches. Yes,
but see, I'm confused now because in that answer you also said the solution is not to do nothing, whereas Rob and John have suggested, and I think even you have, that staying calm and staying afloat and treading water isn't such a bad idea.
Yeah, and I think there is conflicting research in that area, and it's great to have a national debate about these issues. It's about time Australia has a good, strong debate about rip currents in the country.
Okay, look, we're out of time. I'm not quite sure that we've nailed what is the best thing to do in a rip, but a final word from all of you. Rob?
Don't get in a rip in the first place. Learn how to spot one.
John?
Look, the research might say something to Peter, but clearly listeners will still be confused, and our advice is don't swim parallel, use the flags, and if in trouble, float, stay calm, survive. Eventually someone will come to your help, and let's hope that when I go to Canberra and speak to Kate Ellis on Friday, we get some solutions to this campaign which has caused so much angst across the lifeguard industry.
Okay, and Peter?
I think it's caused some angst with John Andrews. I'm not sure if it's caused some angst across the lifeguard industry. But as Rob said, swim between the red and yellow flags, primary message of Surf Lifesaving Australia, and then check out the ripcurrents.com website. We'd love all Australians to learn about rips. Rob's videos on there has some great information about rip currents and goes deeper into the issue.
Learn how to spot a rip. I think that's the key. Better get that message into schools. Most Australians like deserted beaches. That's what they want to do. All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. John Andrews, Peter Agnew and Rob Brander. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you,
Frank.